If you are in the Windows ecosystem and are planning to dip your legs in Linux, dual booting your computer is the way to go. This ensures you get the best from both worlds. Let me show you how to dual boot Linux Mint on a Windows 11 computer. Before you start the process, it will be wise to back up your computer. So go ahead and do that just in case something goes wrong during the process. In my years of dual booting, nothing has ever gone wrong, but you never can tell. But that's not all. Stick around till the end because I'll also tackle some of the most common issues and questions about dual booting, including Windows updates, messing with GRUB, and secure boot concerns. First, let's start by examining the drives on my system. Understanding your disk setup may be crucial for a successful dual boot installation, especially if you will use a manual setup. In this video, I will not be using the manual setup, but it is good to know. Here's what I've got. 2 drives, disk 0 and disk 1. If you're lucky enough to have a setup like this, congratulations. It's the cleanest and most straightforward configuration for dual booting. You may install Linux Mint on a separate drive from Windows. But don't worry if you only have 1 drive. You can still make it work, as I will be showing you in this video. If you're working with a single drive, my advice is to first analyze how much space Windows is occupying. You can do this by checking your drive properties in Windows. This is vital information, as you do not want Linux Mint to eat into your Windows installation and make it corrupted. My advice is to have more free space than is required. What I recommend is having between 80 and 120 gigabytes for a smooth dual boot experience. Now that we understand our setup, let's move on to downloading Linux Mint. First, open your browser and search for Linux Mint Download. Click on the official website, which should be the first result. To make it even easier, I've included a direct link to the official Linux Mint website in the video description. Always download from the official source to avoid potential security risks. Once you're on the website, choose the download option for the Cinnamon edition. I choose Cinnamon because it's the most user-friendly and visually appealing version of Linux Mint, perfect for newcomers transitioning from Windows. If you want to learn more about Linux distros, you should check out my tier list video pinned in the comments. Next, you'll be asked to pick a download mirror. This simply refers to a server location from which the file will be downloaded. Select the one closest to your location to get the best download speed, but don't worry too much. Each mirror provides the exact same file. Now your download should start. The file you're downloading is called an ISO, a complete image of the Linux Mint operating system that we'll write to a USB drive to make it bootable. To do that, we need a tool called Universal USB Installer. This is a free, lightweight tool that simplifies the process of creating a bootable USB. You can find it using the link in the description or by searching for Universal USB Installer. Make sure you click on the official link from Pendrive Linux to avoid fake or malicious websites. On the Universal USB Installer page, scroll down and click the Download UI button. Once downloaded, you now have 2 important files, the Linux Mint ISO and the tool to write it to your USB. Now, plug in your USB drive. Make sure it's empty or that you've backed up any important data, as this process will erase everything on it. Next, run the Universal USB Installer executable file. Accept the terms and follow these steps. For step 1, select the correct drive letter for your USB. Be very careful here. Choosing the wrong drive can result in data loss on another drive. Check Prepare this device and click Yes when the warning message comes up. Select Linux Mint from the drop-down menu under Step 2. Click Browse under Step 3 and select the Linux Mint ISO you just downloaded. Finally, click Create. You might see some warnings. These are normal. Just confirm them and let the process run. Depending on the speed of your USB drive, this might take several minutes, so be patient. Once the process is complete, you've taken a major step towards dual booting Linux Mint and Windows 11. Your USB is now bootable and ready to go. Before starting the installation of Linux Mint alongside Windows 11, there's one crucial checkpoint you need to address: disabling Bitlocker encryption. Ignoring this step will leave you staring at an error screen when the installer refuses to proceed. This is because Bitlocker encrypts your Windows drive, essentially locking down your data with a security key. When you try to install Linux Mint, the installer needs unrestricted access to your drive to make the necessary partition changes. Encryption acts like a gatekeeper, blocking that access and halting the process. To disable Bitlocker, open the Settings app, navigate to Privacy and Security, and select Device Encryption. Toggle off Device Encryption. Now wait patiently for the de-encryption to complete. Then you can proceed to the next steps of installing Mint. Alright, it's time to start the exciting part, actually booting into Linux Mint. Here's what you do. Restart your computer and as it starts back up, repeatedly press the dedicated key to enter your BIOS. On most systems, this is one of the function keys. In my case, it's F10. Once you're in the BIOS, ensure Secure Boot is disabled. Secure Boot checks the digital signatures of bootloaders against a trusted certificate authority. While many modern Linux distributions like Ubuntu, Fedora, and Linux Mint have signed bootloaders that work with Secure Boot enabled, not all distributions or custom kernels do. If your Linux distribution's bootloader isn't signed or isn't recognized, Secure Boot will block it from loading. Now make sure the boot order is set to the USB with Linux Mint at the top. Your BIOS interface might look different from mine, but don't worry. It's all about finding the option that lets you prioritize boot devices. This tells your computer to load the operating system from the USB instead of the hard drive. Then save and exit. Hit Enter for Linux ISO. Use the arrow keys to select Linux Mint and hit Enter. Hit Enter again for the boot in normal mode option. From the displayed GRUB options, select the Start Linux Mint Cinnamon option. This will boot Linux Mint in what's called live mode. Essentially, it's running directly from the USB drive without touching your computer's hard drive. This lets you try out Linux Mint to see if everything works well with your hardware before making any permanent changes. It's a great way to test compatibility. Once you're satisfied that everything's running smoothly, click the Install Linux Mint option on the desktop to begin the installation. Now, let's walk through the installer step by step. On the welcome screen, select a language and click Continue. Select your keyboard layout. You can test it by typing into the field below. This is especially useful if you're using a non-standard layout. Click Continue. Connect to your Wi-Fi. You'll see an option to install multimedia codecs. I highly recommend checking this box. These codecs ensure that your system can handle common audio and video formats out of the box, saving you the hassle later. Click Continue. Next, we get to the most important part, the installation type. Here's where you need to pay close attention. Whatever you do, do not select Erase Disk and install Linux Mint. This option will wipe everything, including your Windows installation, and leave you with only Linux Mint. That's not what we want for a dual boot setup. If you plan on doing a manual configuration, like installing Windows on a secondary drive, you should select the Something Else option. This option will allow you to pick drives and partitions. So for instance, at the start I created a free partition. If I want to proceed with using this partition, I will click the Something Else option. I will click the free space, click the plus button and add my root. However, for this video, I will no longer be installing Linux Mint on the secondary drive, so I do not need this Something Else option. So let us return to the installation type screen. Here I select Install Linux Mint alongside Windows Boot Manager. I click Install Now and Next. Then I click Continue. This automates most of the configuration for you, making it perfect if you're new to Linux or just want a hassle-free setup. Select your location to ensure the correct time zone and language settings. Fill in your user details. You'll set a username, password, and computer name here. Make sure to remember your password. It's used for everything, including admin tasks. Click Continue, and Linux Mint will take it from here. The installation process usually takes about 10 to 20 minutes, depending on your system speed. Sit back and relax while it works its magic. Once the installation finishes, click Restart Now. The system will prompt you to remove your USB drive. This ensures your computer boots from the new installation instead of the USB. After that, press Enter. Alright, now that your dual boot setup is complete, let's make sure everything is working smoothly. You should see the boot menu or GRUB when you restart your computer. This is where you can choose between Linux Mint and Windows. If you don't select anything, Linux Mint will boot by default after a few seconds. I am booting into Linux Mint first. As you can see, this was a simple and easy boot process. Now, I will restart the computer and this time boot into Windows. As you can see, both operating systems are working perfectly, and your dual boot setup is ready to go. But before you leave, let me quickly address some of the most common concerns I've seen people encounter while dual booting Windows 11 and Linux Mint. These are questions that pop up a lot in forums and comments, so let's clear the air. Question 1. I heard this method stopped working after an update in August 2024. Is that true? So, back in August 2024, Microsoft released an update addressing a GRUB vulnerability that prevents booting from ISO images like the Mint Live USB image or tools like Ventoy. However, the solution is simple. Disable secure boot in your BIOS, just like I demonstrated earlier in the video. This works because disabling secure boot allows your system to bypass the restrictions that block unsigned bootloaders, such as GRUB in this case. With secure boot off, your installation should proceed without a hitch. Question 2. Dual booting from the same disk seems risky. Shouldn't I use a separate SSD? That's an excellent point. And using a separate SSD for Linux is indeed the safest way to dual boot. Here's why. Windows has a habit of overwriting GRUB or causing issues with other OS installations during updates. By installing Linux on a separate drive and physically disconnecting your Windows SSD during the process, you ensure complete independence between the two systems. Later, you can use your BIOS to switch between drives instead of relying on GRUB. It's a cleaner, more robust setup, especially for those who want to avoid potential headaches. Question 3. What should I do if Windows overwrites GRUB after an update? Unfortunately, this does happen occasionally. Windows updates can overwrite the boot manager, making GRUB inaccessible. The solution? Always keep a bootable USB with boot repair handy. Boot repair is a lightweight utility that can quickly restore GRUB, putting you back in control of your dual boot system. Trust me, it's a lifesaver in those rare moments when Windows decides to take over. And there you have it. I hope this video helped you feel confident about the process. Before you go, don't forget to like this video if you found it helpful, subscribe for more tutorials like this one, and ring that notification bell so you never miss an upload. Thanks for watching, and see you in the next one.